Hi everyone. This is going to be a bit of a gear review today, which I haven't done before on this channel. And I wanted to talk about the fact that obviously, as soon as you get your Macaferry out of the practice room or away from a place where you have a nice acoustic and very little talking from the audience, you're going to need to find some sort of amplification solution. Now, if you perform in a lovely auditorium, for example, with a really, really good sound engineer, you might have somebody who's willing to set up a nice boom mic and get a good mic'd sound. And that's the best possible way to amplify any sort of acoustic instrument. However, in practice, you're often playing in noisy pubs and bars for less than respectful audiences where the acoustic is not perhaps ideal, and in situations where you don't have a sound engineer who's very au fait with miking up acoustic instruments and doesn't want to mess around with that or have to deal with all the feedback that you're likely to get through the system. I don't want to have a go at sound engineers, but some sound engineers are definitely more from a rock background and they tend to like things that plug in. So in the interests of practicality, you're going to need to explore some amplification options that aren't microphones. Now, a lot of Gypsy Jazz guitarists use the Audio-Technica Pro 70, which I've used in the past. I find it reasonably okay, but I do think that that there's obviously problems with feedback after you get to a certain volume level. It's a microphone that basically you can stick onto your guitar using either the supplied mount or some sort of other solution. They're not very expensive. I would recommend giving one a try, but in the end I found it to be a bit of a pain in the bum, and I wanted to find something that was a bit simpler and a bit less prone to feedback, even if the sound wasn't as good. So the more expensive version of the Pro Technica, what's it called? Audio-Technica Pro 70, that's what I was looking for. The Audio-Technica Pro 70, which by the way has been used by people like Borelli Legren as far as I know, so it's actually a pretty respectable way to amplify a Macaferry. That particular mic is quite cheap, but you can get the much more expensive DPA microphone. I haven't tried that on the guitar. I understand that it's got better feedback rejection as well as a more hi-fi sound, which is, I suppose, what you'd expect for more money. But without using one on a gig, I wouldn't want to commit to paying, 400 or 500 quid for another type of microphone or pickup. Anyway, so what spurred this particular video is that recently I just took a punt on buying a old Krivo. This is a Krivo single coil pickup, I believe it's called. There's a proper name for it. I can't remember what it is. You'll have to look it up. I'll put it in the comments maybe if I can be bothered. But this is basically, I got picked this up for 90 quid, and I think it's one of the old ones. It's not. I think the new ones are a bit better. It's basically a single coil pickup that you blue tack to your guitar. It's too big to fit on most arch tops, but in fact I can fit it on my Law LH600 when I take the scratch plate off, but it's too big to fit in with the scratch plate. So it's pretty much purposely designed for Selmer Macaferry guitars. I'm just going to push it a little bit closer to the neck if I can. You can move it around, position it as you wish. It's balanced for acoustic strings, so either Argentine strings as we find on a Macaferry or bronze strings as you find on flat top and arch top acoustics. And it has obviously some of the features or problems associated with single coils. There's a bit of buzz. Krivo also make the Django Bucker, which is a humbucker, and this apparently has a more natural and acoustic sound. So I'm looking forward to trying one of those when I have a little bit more money. I really like the concept of this pickup. I think being able to blue tack a pickup onto guitar is great fun, and it's allowed me to take all of the gubbins off the front of my Law arch top, which actually makes it sound better again as an acoustic instrument, and I enjoy playing it a lot more like that. It seems to be more true to what the instrument wants to be. And with the Macaferry, it's the same deal. You don't need to have anything glued onto the top. Now, my amplification solution before that is this thing here, which you can see under the bridge. This is a K&K Definity pickup, and these work well for both Selmer Macaferry guitars and also arch tops as well. In fact, you can even fit them to things like Gibson 335s because they work on any guitar with a floating bridge. This is kind of a hybrid sort of under saddle and body piezo pickup. It's got aspects of both. In my experience, it's been pretty resistant to feedback and provides a decent, if slightly piezo-y sound. Anyway, rather than sort of carry on talking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some guitar for you. And I just want to say that there's 3 input sources that I will cut between over the course of my bit of guitar playing. The first is going to be the microphone, which is a Rode NT1A, standard budget mic used by many, many people. The second input is going to be the K&K Definity piezo pickup through a Power Acoustic DI. It's an LR Baggs acoustic guitar DI box, very standard gear I think for a lot of people. And then the last one will be the Krivo magnetic pickup here, and this will all be going straight into my sound card without any kind of EQing, reverb, anything. I just want you to get an idea of the raw sound of everything, because I hate it on YouTube videos of demonstrating gear when you get like some kind of mic'd sound or a sound which has already been treated to make it sound better. I just want to give you the warts and all sound of these pickup solutions, and then we go from there. So. Anyway, let's try some rhythm. Anyway, hopefully that should give you enough of an idea of how that performs. Now, just a quick note or two about my personal experience gigging. Gigging is always different from sort of, just bedroom playing and practice and so forth. Now, I've noticed that both these systems pretty feedback resistant. My live rig was this K&K pickup into the Power Acoustic DI, and that worked pretty well, but I got a bit sick of the lack of sustain in the sound after a while, and I think all I could end up hearing was the attack, like the clink at the start of the note, which I wasn't so happy about. So the getting of the Krivo pickup was to try and counterbalance that. The Krivo, to my ears, sounds much more like an electric guitar. In fact, I actually used it through a pedal board, and I could foreseeably use it to play pretty much any type of gig with this guitar, which is quite fun. So at a push, if I had to go and play a straight ahead jazz gig or even a modern jazz gig, and I was on foot and the getting was difficult, and I had a Gypsy Jazz gig before, I could take the Macaferry. Cat's just appeared, always a bonus. Take the Macaferry and the magnetic pickup and play it on that kind of a gig, and it would sound fine. I think I'll be pretty happy getting a kind of Wes Montgomery kind of tone out of this setup, funnily enough. I even put it through a distortion pedal and it sounded pretty mega actually. That it basically turns into an electric guitar to all intents and purposes. Now, I suppose the ideal situation would be to amalgamate the two sounds together. I'll cut that together so you can hear both of those sounds at the same time, which would create kind of more of a blended acoustic electric sound. A lot of people use that for flat top, like, you know, what they call Western guitars on the continent, you know, like flat top steel string guitars, which would be fine, you know. You know, a lot of people use that sound and they like that better than just like pure either thing, you know, pure magnetic or pure piezo. This would be a lot of wires dangling around. I tend to like to plug one thing in, so I'll probably end up using the Krivo in a situation with noisy drums, and maybe the piezo just to bolster the sound slightly, or maybe even the Krivo just to bolster the sound slightly when I was playing in a quieter environment. Now, last thing is I've tried this on my Law LH600, as I mentioned earlier, which is a pure acoustic archtop, and it sounds pretty great actually. It allows me to put bronze strings on it. I don't have to have anything on top of the guitar apart from this pickup, which doesn't really mute the sound too much, maybe a tiny bit. And it also allows me to leave that guitar as an acoustic guitar, which I'm much happier about. So I've taken all of the pickups and scratch plate and everything else off. You'll probably see me play it in a few future videos without that stuff on it, so that's why. And I just love it like that. This is how the guitar wants to be, and the sound of that through the Krivo is just great. In fact, I almost prefer it to the sound of this pickup amplifying the Macaferri. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I had to say about this. I think both setups have their own value and their own strengths. And as always, leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye.